Welcome in, everybody, to a brand new edition of the Pack a Day podcast here on YouTube. I am your host, Andy Herman. You can follow me on Twitter at Andy Herman NFL. You can follow the podcast at Pack a Day Podcast. But I want to jump in and get started right away because I want to kind of do a really deep dive into what I think Aaron Rodgers is thinking about. I'm just kidding. We're not talking about that today. We are talking about practice. Yes, Allen Iverson, we're talking about practice. We're talking about practice. We're talking about practice. We are finally, thankfully talking about practice, and could not be more excited. Had the opportunity to attend OTA practice 2, which was open to the media. So I know it was the first one that people got to hear about and that the media was at on Tuesday. So it was the first one that really anyone had access to, but it was their second practice overall. But again, had the opportunity to attend and certainly was paying close attention to try to take away as many observations as I can. Now, normal disclaimer here. A few of them, right? So first of all, 80 some player, or 79, 80 some players were there. I think 79, I want to say, were there at practice in some capacity. It was about an hour and a half of practice. So even if you wanted to, that's about a minute per player that you get to kind of go out and watch. There's a ton going on at all times at very different levels of the field. So something amazing could have happened somewhere and my focus is over here and I miss it. Something terrible could have happened over here and my focus was over there and I could have missed it. And that's just kind of the way it goes. But was able to definitely take away a lot of observations. The other couple disclaimers is this is an OTA practice. This is not padded. This is not even fast paced. This is not high speed. This is a lot of walkthroughs. This is a lot of, kind of going through things at half speed. It's not, you can't get a definitive feel for a ton of different things, but there were plenty of takeaways that I think we could get and that I'm excited to talk about. So first, the number one thing that you always want to take a look at is who's actually at OTAs and which players are missing. So I'm sure many of you have seen the names by now. Of course, Aaron Rodgers was not there, but Davante Adams was not there. Jair Alexander, Allen Lazard, MVS, Devin Funchess, EQ, Kadar Hallman, Stanford Samuels. We also don't know, at least I haven't seen anything confirmed. The last I saw was Rob Domofsky, who reported, who was not there as well. And the one it seems like we don't really know is David Bakhtiari, as to whether or not he wasn't there or if he was there and just working in the Hudson Center or working on rehabbing his knee or whatever the case may be. So we don't know for sure if Bakhtiari was there or not. He was not present at the practice portion of OTAs, but we don't know for sure if he's actually there or not. So some interesting things here. First of all, there were a few players that were off to the side. So Blake Bortles was there, present, but not practicing, just kind of doing some light jogging, not really even in jersey or anything like that off to the side. Kevin King was in jersey, but not doing anything. And then Josiah DeGuara was in jersey, in helmet, and working off to the side, going through some, rehab type of stuff and just kind of working with a trainer. So good sign on Josiah DeGuara that he is out there, helmet on, not pads, but uniform on and everything like that. And he's actually getting out there and participating in some capacity. Don't know the story with Kevin King and to where he's at with any injuries. And again, it sounds like they're just bringing Blake Bortles along slowly. So that's why he wasn't quite activated yet. But those were some players working out to the side. But definitely some interesting names not practicing. So a Kadar Hallman and a Stanford Samuels, right? Those are two players that need to be at these sort of things. And I don't know if it's excused absence, if it's injury, if they're not there because it's just a voluntary thing and they don't want to be there. But those are two players that you would really like to see there. Two players that are potentially battling for the back of the roster cornerback spots. Those two not being there, it immensely hurts those two players, no question about it. So those two were interesting to me. And I think the other one, I don't think Jair Alexander's, it's noteworthy because it's Jair Alexander, right? But I don't think there's anything there. He's already one of the best players in the league. I don't know how much these actually mean to him. Again, we don't know about David Bakhtiari, but the wide receivers, certainly very interesting. And Matt LaFleur said that he did not know of anything being a concerted effort or thought process between the wide receivers, that there was some sort of combined effort between the group. But I don't know. I'm not a cynical person at all. But Davante Adams Alan Lazard, MVS, Devin Funchess, and Equanimous St. Brown, your top 5 receivers, not including Amari Rodgers, who is literally a rookie and doing this for the first time and already there from rookie mini camps and so on and so forth. Your top 5 wide receivers, all not there. It's a bit interesting, to say the least. And make of it what you will. You know as much as I know as to why they are not there. Maybe they were on a wide receivers retreat working together with the greatest wide receiver coach of all time somewhere else. Maybe they're all doing their own thing. And again, worth pointing out here that it is voluntary. They're not required to be there. Devontae Adams potentially forfeiting some money here along the way throughout this offseason as well. So that's noteworthy. And I'll probably get into this later this week, but I think Devontae Adams is the biggest story that we're not really talking about yet. And again, I don't want to get into too much of that today because 1, it's conjecture, and 2, we've got actual stuff to talk about with practices. But I think that's a bigger story than maybe it's been made out to be so far. Who knows? We'll see. Enough about that. So the wide receivers, though, not being there is interesting for a variety of reasons. One, is it a camaraderie thing with Aaron Rodgers? Is it just happenstance? Who knows? But it definitely makes things more difficult, right? So with no Aaron Rodgers there, you want to get a glimpse of Jordan Love. Well, if your top 5 wide receivers are out, now all of a sudden you're practicing with Juwan Winfrey and, Reggie Begelton and Amari Rodgers, who just got there in camp. Good opportunities for those guys, no questions, but it definitely makes things a degree harder for Jordan Love as he's trying to run that offense, just not having the normal weapons surrounding him. So I think that's the biggest topic that probably everyone wants to go over, and that's Jordan Love, right? So I think the first thing I want to point out about Jordan Love is he benefited greatly from no Blake Bortles and no Aaron Rodgers. And what I mean by that is he took, I literally think every single 7-on-7, every single team snap, all of it. There was no rotating between him and Kirk Benkert. This was a full load for Jordan Love in this practice. And for somebody coming off a season ago where he was behind both Aaron Rodgers and Tim Boyle for the entirety from day 1 of training camp through end of season, that is a huge, huge benefit for Jordan Love to be able to get this many reps with, we can't exactly say the first team because all the wide receivers are out, but first team O-line, first team tight ends, first team running backs, and then some wide receivers rotating, and including Amari Rodgers, who I think we're all expecting will play some role in this upcoming season. So that is a huge thing for Jordan Love to be able to see the line, not only the line share, pretty much every snap that he could possibly see in a practice like this. Now, before I get into my Jordan Love observations, I do want to point out a few things. Again, first of all, this is half speed. This is not going through full speed drills. Again, there's no pads. It's just half speed, not walkthroughs, but it's definitely not this intense sort of team period. Secondly, again, as I mentioned, the wide receivers are all out. Certainly tough to be on the same page as Juwan Winfrey and Reggie Begelton and those sort of players. And just you're probably not going to see the same level of consistency from those type of players, right? It just is what it is. And then lastly, whenever you're talking about observing players in a practice like this, you never know what they're being asked on any given moment or on any given practice. Practice is there to get better. It's not to look great necessarily on any individual play or any group session. We don't know what they were asking anyone to do on any given rep. Like they could be working on something, whether it's a technique, a footwork, they could be working on something else and they're just literally focusing on that, and everything else that happens doesn't matter because they're just honed in on that one thing and we don't know it. So he might completely airball a throw, and it could be because he was working on a little bit of uniqueness with his footwork. Who knows, right? There could, or just a twitch in something where he's trying something new or something different, and it just doesn't come out of his hand in the same rhythm as he's used to, and that's why. So those are the disclaimers I want to go to. So here's what I saw out of Jordan Love from what I could glean from this practice. First of all, I definitely saw more confidence. And what I mean by that is, just as he's going through individual drills, as he's going through the net drills, as I'm sure you saw a couple of the videos that were posted online, as he's just kind of going through everything, you could see him have just a different level of confidence and just sort of aura surrounding him than he did last year. And how could you not, right? You go from a season ago where those training camp practices were literally his first time with the team. Deer in headlights, constantly thinking, just trying to take everything in, learning a new offense, playing beside Aaron Rodgers or getting to see him at practice. Like, it's all just so overwhelming for any rookie, much less a rookie quarterback drafted in the first round in Aaron Rodgers, trying to follow in Aaron Rodgers' footsteps. That's a lot to take in. So you could definitely see a tangible difference in just how he was kind of carrying himself in year 2. I thought the ball was coming out of his hand incredibly well. And it's not necessarily something that he ever struggled with at Utah State, but you could see a little bit more juice in his throws. And again, it's not necessarily always just about having more arm strength, right? Like, what I'm talking about is you don't want to necessarily see somebody have to do a full on windup to produce power. And what you saw out of Jordan Love today was just easy throws, but the ball's coming out explosive. In a good way. So that's a very good compliment, and that's exactly what you want to see. And I think just his overall technique work that he's been working on, that ball is coming out crisp, which is, again, something that you love to see. Again, I thought he was much more comfortable in the individual drills. He's done these now. He was in practices all last year. It's now becoming repeatable for him, and you could see he just had a better level of confidence. And then the last thing, and maybe one of the more important things, and I actually noted this while I was right when practice ended, and then Aaron Jones echoed this as well. I thought he had much better command of just kind of the play, like the offense. I will say huddle, but there's no huddle in these. Just kind of is at the line of scrimmage, moving people around, making sure people are in the right spots. You could just see, again, that confidence and command was starting to come along. A lot of really positive steps there. Now, on the flip side, when you got to some of those 7-on-7s and some of those team drills, what I thought, and a couple others echoed this as well, I thought you saw him much more hesitant, and I thought you saw him thinking a lot more and not just necessarily coming out, what you'd ideally like to see here. And again, not fast paced, not working with normal receivers, but what you would ideally like to see is, 3-step drop and out, 5-step drop out, decisive decisions, or 3-step drop, first read not there, second read, out and completion, right? And what you saw a lot of as you were watching Jordan Love is, 3 or 5-step drop, pause, look around, check down. And then it was same thing, next snap, look around, check down. And it was just a lot of really short intermediate passes. You didn't get to see him really, just kind of plant and fire and have any confidence in those throws. And again, I want to tell you wholeheartedly that if he would have looked amazing or if he would have looked awful, I would have told you to take the exact same thing out of this, and that's not much. It's just an observation, and ultimately, it doesn't mean a whole lot when you're on OTA day 2. So the positives are good. The negatives are things that he needs to work on. How I viewed him, he looks still like a developing quarterback that's gotten better from year 1 to year 2, which is exactly what you want to see. And it's day 2 of OTA, so it's too difficult to jump to any other conclusions at this point. So that's what I would say about it at this point. I thought he showed improvement. I thought he showed some really good stuff. I thought he looked a little bit hesitant in team drills and still has a lot of things to work on, which Matt LaFleur echoed in his post-game press conference, or post-practice press conference, basically saying that they've seen improvement. You can tell he's been working in the offseason. Still a lot of work to do. He's a young quarterback with a ton of talent that still has to put all the pieces together. It's exactly what it is, and it's exactly what we expected it to be. And again, he's showing improvement, so that's a good thing. Some other kind of quick takeaways. I think probably the biggest takeaway of the entire day was just how the offensive line was lined up. And again, I know this was very quickly reported by pretty much everyone that was there, but David Bakhtiari, of course, not there, or at least not practicing. We don't know for sure, but Elton Jenkins does get the first team snaps at left tackle. John Runyon Jr. at left guard, Josh Myers at center, Lucas Patrick at right guard, Billy Turner at right tackle. So it does not seem that they're going to upset the apple cart with Lucas Patrick, moving him to center. It looks like Josh Myers is going to get every opportunity to win that starting center position. Lucas Patrick stays at that right guard spot. Billy Turner stays at right tackle. They kick Elton Jenkins out to left tackle. And then John Runyon Jr. gets those snaps at left guard with Elton Jenkins out at left tackle. Now, what we don't know is how that pans out once David Bakhtiari would be back, right? If David Bakhtiari is there, now Elton Jenkins kicks inside. Does that mean he goes to left guard and John Runyon Jr. is out? Does that mean he goes to left guard, John Runyon Jr. kicks to right guard, and Lucas Patrick is out? Does that mean he goes to center and Josh Myers is out? Does that mean he kicks to guard and Lucas Patrick kicks to center and Josh Myers is out? Like, there's still a million different things that could happen there. So there's definitely multiple spots that they're going to have to figure out just kind of over the course of time here. The other interesting thing is I did see a couple snaps where Royce Newman, 4th-round pick offensive lineman, did get some reps with the starting offensive line. Now, one of the fun things about this always is that could mean that maybe they're legitimately considering a competition with him and Lucas Patrick at right guard. It could have meant that Lucas Patrick needed to tie his shoe on the sideline, and I didn't see that he was tying his shoe, so they quickly threw Royce Newman in there. Like, those are literally the things that could happen. So the observation is that Royce Newman got some snaps with the ones. Does that mean that there's competition there? Maybe. Does it mean that Lucas Patrick maybe just had to do something, or they just quickly inserted him because of whatever? It could be that too. So it takes a few of these, going to the mini camps and the OTAs and eventually to training camp to see what's kind of transpiring as a whole. But those were kind of the big observations along the offensive line. Other couple things. Amari Rodgers, I thought there's just one play in particular. It's a really interesting play, but he basically catches it, and then you could just see how insanely smooth he is after the catch. Just in and out of his breaks while running at full speed, getting north and south. Exactly what I mentioned when I did the deep dive into Amari Rodgers. He catches the ball. He's immediately going upfield, but in that moving upfield, he's just so subtle in his movements to get upfield. Now, on the play, he literally, he catches it, makes a couple moves, goes past players, looks so smooth, and then literally just fumbles the ball out of his hands. It bounces, he picks it right back up. Like, even his fumble was smooth, but something he needs to work on, obviously, is that ball security. But you could just see the skill and movement that he has right there in person. It was awesome to see, and I think it's definitely going to be just, again, an exciting player to watch moving forward. Chris Barnes gets snaps at the first inside linebacker position. So ahead of Kamal Martin, ahead of Ty Summers in that group, it looks like he is starting to solidify himself as that true linebacker one for the Packers at the moment. I also saw Ty Summers definitely get some snaps with the ones and rotate in here and there, and also be very vocal and very in command of the defense. You could tell he had a high level of confidence, knew what was going on. He was taking a leadership role when he was in there on defense. So I think he's going to get involved in the conversation for the overall linebacker spots and just getting in a rotation there. We'll see what happens. I didn't get to see, I can't say one way or the other of what that meant for Kamal Martin. I just didn't see. Maybe it means he's still in the swing of things. Maybe it means that he's a little bit behind the other two. I don't know. I frankly don't know. But definitely noticed Chris Barnes getting the majority of the reps there, and also noticed Ty Summers when he was there, very active, very vocal, things of that nature. Also saw some Adrian Amos in the box. So, the questions there is who's going to take that Raven Green role, maybe play a little bit more, kind of box safety. Saw a couple snaps where Adrian Amos is in there next to Chris Barnes at the linebacker spot, with Darnell Savage and Will Redmond at safety in that situation. So that'll be something to keep an eye on if they keep doing that. And then the last observation is something that I didn't make, but I heard it from a variety of different people, is it sounds like Preston Smith came in much more slim and in really good shape, which is a really good sign. And as we know from earlier this offseason, Preston Smith basically signed a deal where the better he does, the more he gets paid. He goes out and has a huge season, he's going to get very paid. So he has a lot of incentives and a lot of money that he can earn by playing well this season. Seems like he's taking that seriously at OTAs and in very good shape from what I heard from other people. I didn't get to see it myself, but sounds like that is a good sign as well. So those are my main takeaways from day 2 of OTAs. Unfortunately, I'm not sure how many other of the mini camp and OTA practices I'm going to get to. The day job is a bit busy at the moment right now. For those who don't know, my day job is not covering the Packers, so my other life is quite busy, so not sure I'm going to get out there for a couple of the other ones in midday, but we'll definitely be back for training camp at the latest for sure. Hoping to get to at least maybe one or more of those practices, but we'll see. Either way, I will do my best to cover it in some capacity, in some way, shape, or form. But appreciate you joining me today. Very therapeutic to actually talk about Packers football in practice, not all the other stuff going on. Hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, make sure to subscribe. I really, really appreciate it. But I'll be right back here tomorrow. In the meantime, make sure to check out the audio podcast wherever you get your favorite podcasts. But until next time, and as always, go Pack Go.